Greetings, brethren, it's your bibbidi-bobbidi boy, the donkey, and I'm back on another day with another beer. Now, you may have noticed that the channel name has changed. That's what I'm saying. At this point of recording, I don't actually know what it has changed to, but it has changed. Because I've realized that there are too many other channels that are called A Beer a Day. Now, when I made this channel, I've said this in the last video, in case you watched that one, but since that one was specifically for my old channel, I thought I'd repeat it here. When I made this channel, I kind of just did it out of a whim. I didn't really do any research. I didn't really think about the branding too much. I just had a funny idea, a beer a day. Sounds good. Made the intro, which I thought was a really funny riff on my old channel's intro, which I then realized that none of my new viewers would even be able to appreciate. But yeah, I did it anyway, and I still like my intro. I think it's fun, and it's as you are very well aware, because it is now changed. I'm sure it was actually not that hard to change to the new one, and the new one is what we're gonna go with. Because there are some channels out there that have the same name. There's, for example, A Beer a Day with TK, I think it's called. He seems to be an American chap doing beer reviews, and he has done that for over a year. So he has right of seniority, and I'm not gonna, get into that. It's his thing, and there's a couple of other ones as well that have few subscribers. It doesn't matter. It's an idea that's already been done. So I thought, since this is still early in this channel's history, I might as well just change it now. And it doesn't change anything. I'm still going to do a beer every day and review them. It just has another name. It's fine, right? Also, this is the third video I'm doing today. This is the same day of the Altbier, which took me a while to find, and the Hobgoblin Ruby, which was for my old channel, to maybe entice some of those folks to come and watch these videos. So I'm already a little bit buzzed, because drinking beer that quickly, since I don't really... I'm very much under calorie, because I'm trying to lose weight. So I don't eat particularly a lot, especially because I'm also drinking a lot of beers. That means calories, so my actual food intake isn't large, so I get buzzed pretty quickly at the moment. But that's okay, we'll just deal with that. So, let's just quickly get to it. The beer I'm drinking today is a brand new one that I haven't tried before. It's called Staffelberg Bräu Helles Vollbier. So this is a pale lager. And I chose it because it has a funny gnome on the picture. I'm very much a sucker for branding. Okay, when it comes to beer, if you have funny gnomes and or animals on your beer, I'm all about that. So even if your beer sucks, having a funny gnome on it, that's already pretty good. And of course, it's a pale lager. And I think I've said that before, and I shall say it again. Pale lagers are my favorite. I very, very, very much like pale lagers. They're so easy to drink, and they're so tasty. And even if they're bad, they're not really obnoxious. Like a bad IPA is obnoxious. A bad Pilsner can be really obnoxious. A bad ale is disgusting. Whatever the French call beer, when it's bad, it's really bad. But yeah, a pale lager is never really gross. It's always okay. So let's have a go. Sure. Let's pour this one. Oh, this one looks particularly pale, which I'm not opposed to. I do like me a pale lager. And there we go. Foamy crown. Bubbles aren't too big, so that's going to dissipate quickly. Again, this might be my pouring technique, but a pale lager doesn't really keep its foam very long. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's really gentle. How many percent? 5%. All right. So I think I've said this before. Pale lagers, they range usually between 4.8 to 5.5. So a 5.0, not that crazy on the scale. Pale lagers are always very, very smooth and they're very gentle. And if you are someone who, for example, the beer that you're used to is a bit more lower on the flavor side, so American ales, for example, Heineken, things like that, then really strong pilsners might not be for you. I totally understand that. A really strong pilsner is a lot in terms of flavor. Like that really, it comes in like a wrecking ball, and you might not want a lot of those. I can understand that. And for all of those kinds of people, or people who grew up with ales, especially, because ales tend to also be very gentle, very, very warming, very nice and comfortable. Or stout is another one of those. It's just they're not very aggressive in terms of their flavor. They have flavor, but they're not, they're not crashing down your proverbial door with all of the flavor that they bring. So if Pilsner is too much for you, I would really recommend trying a pale lager if you're ever in Germany, especially if you're in South Germany, because of course this is where pale lagers come from, and we make the best pale lagers, damn it. Yeah, they are just more gentle. They're a lot more drinking kind of beer. So they're sort of, if you imagine like a terrible American beer, like Budweiser, and then you imagine the harshest Pilsner you've ever had, it's somewhere in the middle between that. So there's good flavor, but it's not overly bitter. It's not disgustingly sweet. It's just really nice and balanced, which is also why I really like pale lagers. And on top of that, they're actually a lot higher in alcohol than you would imagine for something that's so gentle in its taste. Cheers. This is actually really nice. In terms of my sort of rankings of pale lagers, this is not going to get very high. The thing with pale lagers for me is they are, as I said, they are my favorite. So, my favorite beer is a pale lager. So it's very difficult for pale lagers to get really high in my rankings, because there's a lot of them to beat. But it is very nice. I'm just reading the back. Sorry. So this has a. I'm really gonna have to look up a few of the sort of Germans. I don't know if you. I did talk about the German purity commandment before, but I didn't really talk about the specifics. So it's not only the ingredients that make the German purity commandment. It's also there are levels to the. It's called the Stammwürze, which the base blend, I guess, and it refers to. It's so difficult to explain this in English. You know what? I'm gonna leave this for another video when I'm not buzzed, because then I can actually, give you the specifics. But anyway, there are very, very specific grades to beers. And yeah, we'll talk about that in the future, because I think it's actually really interesting. And I'm sure to anyone who isn't German and who isn't super autistic about beer, it will sound incredibly autistic. But that is where all of that German purity commandment stuff comes from. There's a lot of rules and regulations that you have to follow to fall into specific categories of beer. As I said before, it's not illegal to fall outside of these categories. You just can't call your beer one of those types. If you don't fall within a specific category that is designated for pale lagers, for example, can't call your beer a pale lager. It's just not allowed. So I guess it's a law in that, but it's not illegal to not follow it. Anyway, how old is this brewery? Where does it say? Oh, there you go, 1856. All right, that's not too bad. That's, I'd say, about the sort of average age of most, 1850 is what I would call the sort of average age of most German breweries. But yeah, let's just get to the rating, because clearly I am buzzed and I have nothing of value to say anymore. So, as a pale lager goes, I would say that this is in the lower 50% bracket. It does make extra points, as I said, for having a funny gnome on the picture. But to be entirely honest, it's good, but that's mostly because it is a pale lager. So it falls within that range of beer that I really, really enjoy. But there's so many other pale lagers that are better than this that I don't think I can give this more than... Now I also have to think about the Ruby from the last episode, which I gave a 6.5 out of 10. And the Alt, which I gave, I'm pretty sure, a 7 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10. So I don't think this is quite 7.5. It is better than the Ruby Ale, though, so I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I think that's fair. I think that, again, it is still a very, very decent beer. You could do much, much worse than this. It's good. It's fine. It's grand. It's a lovely beer. But in terms of pale lagers, there's just... the sky is the limit. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll try to not be as buzzed in the next video. And I hope you have a lovely evening. And please join me on another day for another beer. Cheers.